What is the matter, Da Wang?
It's my son. He's been ordered by Emperor Shi Huangdi and his army to work on the Great Wall.
To work on the Great Wall? But why? There are already thousands of people that have been sent off to work on it. Why is there need for more workers?
It is because all the workers taken away by the army are worked to death and then thrown into wall as part of its filling. It is called the long graveyard. Laboring throughout the day, even if the weather is terrible, with little food makes it so that too many peasants die for the project to continue without more workers brought there. And with my son gone, probably off to die, I won't be able to farm enough crops to both feed my family and pay the heavy taxes issued by Shi Huangdi.
How terrible. Is there nothing that can be done?
Not a thing. The people who do whisper about rebellion are too afraid of the punishment. Shi Huangdi went as far as to kill his stepbrothers and then expel his mother. He has burned alive some of the most well-known scholars and burned historical texts.
How horrible. To think this man is now ruling. Why does he enforce such strict rules?
I've heard rumors that Shi Huangdi thinks all people are truly evil at heart.
That's just crazy. Has this man done any good?
Well, he has enforced regulations to help unify the country. He's made a standardized weights and currency system. He has also standardized language throughout China.
Now that I think about it, he has tried to help China somewhat. He's created a centralized government and expanded China's territories. And because of the centralized government, feudalism was abolished.
You could also say the Great Wall could have been considered an accomplishment if it didn't have to have the bodies of our families in it. It actually creates a barrier between us and those barbaric Mongols.
He and Shang Yang, the Qin statesman, actually created a nice capital called Xianyang, and created a sophisticated army with the newest technology and the best generals, unlike before there were small armies, spread out, and didn't have mighty generals.
Yeah, I remember those stories. My parents used to tell me about them when I was younger. They also told me stories about some old guy. His name is so confusing I can't remember.
Oh yeah, that old guy, and yes, his name is confusing. When did he live? Around 551 to 479 BC, right?
Yeah, I remember his name now. He was Confucius, also known as Master Kang.
Oh yes, Master Kang. He wrote the 4 books and 5 classics. They were written around 300 BC, I remember now.
Oh really? I didn't know that about him. Well, what are the 4 books and 5 classics about?
Well, in the 4 books there are Great Learning, Doctrine of the Mean, Analects of Confucius and Mencius, and the 5 classics are Classic of Poetry, Classic of History, Classic of Rites, Classic of Change, and Spring of Autumn Annals.
So what does that mean?
Well, they are the foundation for the philosophy Confucianism. It hasn't picked up yet, but I'm sure this philosophy will play a huge role in China.
Well, tell me more about this philosophy Confucianism.
Well, first and most importantly, it was founded by Confucius. Confucius was born in the late spring-autumn period, a wartime period. He grew up in a warrior family, but his father died. When Confucius was really young, his family went into poverty, and this made Confucius study really hard. The second part is the philosophy itself, what they believe in. Confucius is based around these ethics: moral, social, political, philosophical, and quasi-religious ethics.
Oh, I see.
Well, I think that Confucianism will be a big philosophy that would even affect the government.
I wonder what it was like back in his time. My grandfather used to tell me stories about what it was like before. Not much about Confucius, but about the Shang dynasty.
My grandfather also used to talk to me about it. He has so many stories that have been passed down from generation to generation.
I know. He would tell me all the good things that happened, such as in the Shang dynasty they wrote on the oracle bones by using bronze tips to write. They have been preserved ever since and tell stories about what happened in the Shang dynasty.
I heard they made wood houses that pillars. The Shang kings also used their tombs that had human sacrifices around it. They offered it to the gods in bronze.
Yes, I heard about that too. Bronze was really important during the Shang dynasty as it was a symbol of power and wealth.
Bronze was also used to make weapons. They used bronze-tipped spears and used bronze to make horse-drawn chariots.
Also, the Shang dynasty had a very strong government because the invention of writing allowed the government to organize the civilians.
My grandfather also told me about the fall of the Shang and how then, the Zhou dynasty took power.
Ah yes, the dynasty in which the great beliefs of Confucius were born.
Not to mention the feudal system which came to life during the Zhou dynasty.
The agriculture also became advanced as agricultural food became the main food supply for the people.
Even though the Shang and Zhou dynasties had their ups and downs, I prefer them over Shi Huangdi any day.
You know what? I'm tired of Shi Huangdi doing whatever he wants and forcing us into labor.
The last two people that tried to kill him failed, but I know that we could pull it off.
We could get the other farmers and overrun the government and him with it.